is Sachin Sawant. I am an immigration lawyer registered with the OIC at level 3. Today I am going to talk about the list of documents and information required in support of naturalization application to qualify as a British citizen. We have published this list on our website. I will mention the link to the website under the video. You can also download this list by visiting our website, clicking here, download the list. It will take you to the list of documents. Just scroll down and download all the documents that you see under naturalization as a British citizen for adults. It's a list of documents. So this is how the list will look like. You can download it, work with the list. I'll go through all the points on this list. Then the second document is the referee pages. You need to print out 2 copies of these referees pages, paste your photograph, write the name of the applicant, and the referee has to read this declaration and sign and date it. You need 2 referees. I will give you the link. So the next document is list of professionals who can act as referees. It is a common misconception among clients that only specific individuals like lawyers, accountants can act as referees. However, there is a long list of professional people who can act as referees. You can download this list. You will definitely find someone on this list to sign on your behalf. Usually the referee should have known you for about 3 years of time. One of the referees should be a British citizen over the age of 25, and the other referee should be one of the professionals listed on this list. Okay, going back. So first is a list of documents, referee pages, list of professionals. The 4th document may not apply to everyone. This gives you the rules that are applied if your absences from the UK are more than the required minimum. So absences from the United Kingdom during residential qualifying period. So if you are married to a British citizen, then your qualifying period would be last 3 years. If you are not married to a British citizen, then your qualifying period would be 5 years, which means 5 years backward from the date of application. So if today you are submitting the application, you need to count 5 years backwards from today. So this is the normally permitted absences, 450 days to 70 days. Total number of absences normally disregarded, 480 days, 300 days. Absences normally disregarded only if you meet all other requirements. So go on our list, just go check if you meet all other requirements, then these absences would normally be disregarded only if you meet the requirements and you have an established life, your home, family, and a substantial part of your estate in the UK. So usually if you own a home, any property in the UK, or you have your spouse, partner, children living, studying in the UK, that is what is considered as family relationships. Then your established home. So if your main home is in the UK, that will also help. 5-year qualifying period up to 900 days and 3-year qualifying period up to 540 days. Below we have, there are the detailed reasons. You can read about this. Also in the last 12 months, the number of absences permitted, normal permitted absences in final 12 months of qualifying period is 90 days, normally disregarded 100 days. Total number of absences normally disregarded only if, so the similar condition as before, you see, you meet all the requirements and you have established your home, family, established home and substantial part of your estate, 100 to 179 days. And total number of absences that may be disregarded if you do not meet all of the other requirements providing the following criteria met. Demonstrated links in the UK to presence of family established home, substantial part of your estate, and the and is very important. So both apply. The absence is justified by Crown Service by compelling occupational or compassionate reasons, taking account of the criteria listed in Note 1 above. That's all for the excess absences. This will only apply if your absence are above the permitted usual limits. Now going back to the list of documents. Okay. So these are all the documents that you had. You can click them. They will take you to the same page. So the documents required: applicant's current passport. If you are a non-European national applying for naturalization, then you will have to produce last 5 years of all the passports that you held. The reason being, your passports are stamped whenever you enter the UK, and even exit stamps have been started, so that's how they come to know that you were present, for what period of time you were outside the UK, and how long you were in the UK. If you don't have all the passports used in the last 5 years, then you will have to produce additional evidence such as letters from government departments, council tax bill, HMRC, DVLA, DWP, etc., to prove that you have been living in the UK. If you are a European national, then your passports are not stamped. Hence, you will have to anyways produce evidence that you were resident in the UK for the last 5 years in the form of letters and documents. We've listed them at the bottom. It says only for EEA nationals, proof of residence in the UK. These are various options that you can use. And going further, applicants took photographs pasted on the referee pages as discussed before. Then indefinite leave to remain biometric card if you are a non-European national. If you are a European national, either permanent residence, which you might have acquired under the EEA regulations, or settled status letter copy to confirm that you have settled status. Especially for European nationals, please be aware that from the date of approval of your settled status, the date of the letter that you receive in the email, you need to wait for at least 1 year to apply for naturalization. You cannot apply immediately after, irrespective of however long you have lived in the UK. So please be mindful of that. Your application will be refused if you apply anytime before 12 months, before completion of 12 months from the date of approval of your settled status. Then the next one is original life in the UK pass test certificate. For non-European nationals, you might have already proved it at the point of applying for your indefinite leave to remain. So, but still you will have to give a copy of the test pass certificate of the life in the UK exam. If you don't have it, then you may have to give a letter stating that you have lost it, and give any references that you may have or any proof that you may have with you, either a copy or something, or a test ID, anything like that. So that letter will suffice. There is a database that the Home Office maintains that they can search you on and find that you have passed that test. For non-European nationals especially, please be aware you are not required at any previous stages, you are not required to pass this test. You only need the Life in the UK test pass certificate when you are applying for naturalization, that is this application. You can book the test by clicking on this link. It will take you to this website. You can read about it. It costs £50. You can take the test a number of times. There are no limits. Every time you'll have to pay the £50. Also, there is an official handbook that you can purchase usually. Yeah. Most of the clients that we hear from, they do practice on apps on Android and iPhone. You have different various apps. If you search for Life in the UK test, you will get several apps. You can read the reviews of those apps and maybe buy one. So they are quite cheap, maybe under £5, £2 to £5 something. You can also practice on the apps. Online also there are various websites. If you Google for Life in the UK test, and you may get the questions and answers to practice. So that's all about Life in the UK test. We are required to write the ID of the test certificate on the application form, and that can be used to verify your certificate. Also, you need to meet the English language requirement. So you can find the English language requirement by clicking on this link. Prove your knowledge of English for citizenship or settling. Overview. So this gives you details. So summarily, if you have a degree that you got in the UK, that you have got at a UK university, at least a bachelor's or higher, you can use that award certificate. You don't need to give the transcripts, only the award is sufficient. In any other countries, usually you will need a UK NARIC, UK NARIC. You can Google for it. So they will have to, if you have not got your degree in the UK, then you may need a letter from that body. The name is UK NARIC. So this is the body, you can read about it. Usually this is more time consuming and slightly costlier. That's what most of the clients have told us, because they need to confirm that the degree was taught in English and also it is at least equivalent to a UK degree. So more or less the cost is either equal or higher to passing an English test certificate. That's why most of the time we have observed any clients who don't have a UK degree, they will prefer to give the English language test. You can book the test at, just the website is Trinity College. You can either pass Trinity or IELTS. This is one of Trinity B1 SELT. Even if you search for the term on Google, it will come up. It's just a 10-minute speaking and listening test. Most of the clients prefer to give this test rather than trying to get the equivalency. It's quite time consuming. That's what clients have told us, and the cost more or less is the same. Rather, it's much easier to book the test, give it. Usually you may get the test booking within a week or so, and the certificate is also given quite quickly, within a week or so. And even you can use the provisional. Once you attended your test, you can also give the provisional pass certificate and put the number on the application form. So you don't need to have the certificate. Even the provisional certificate will help you. Once you put that number on the application, the Home Office can verify that you pass the test. So that's about English language. And close. Marriage certificate, if you are married to a British national, so that you can prove that you qualify for the 3-year qualifying period, as discussed before. Full copy, all the pages of your partner's British passport. So if you are married to a British person, then full copy is just good practice. I don't see any reason why they would not be okay with receiving just the bio page. So we always prefer to send full copy of the passports. Information required, this is all the information that you will have to fill up on the form. Your national insurance number, last 5 years addresses in the following format. If you don't know the exact date of moving in and out, you can put maybe 1st or 30th of the month. Try to be accurate on the month if possible. So month and year is sufficient. You can just add 1st of the month or 30th of the month or any other date, doesn't matter much. They just want an approximate idea as to where you have been living. Details of applicants' parents, these need to be filled on the application form. Name, town and country of birth, nationality, date of birth. Then details of applicant's spouse or partner. So name, any previous names, town and country of birth, nationality, date of birth, present address if known, date and place of marriage, and if your partner has also naturalized, then a copy of their certificate of naturalization and the citizenship certificate number, it should be on the certificate. So the information about everyone, parents, partner, previously married, previous partners, is more, to the best of our understanding, it's more, the reason is not to verify but to create like a web. This is more from identity fraud purposes. So, for example, if you have to get the British passport, you leave the UK, and then someone else tries to apply for a British passport by whatever means. If they get hold of your documents, or anyone tries to just obtain by fraudulent means, this is all the information that they usually hold uh, in the system, so that they can verify this with any applicant who tries to apply for any rights under your name. So that's how they would verify, by asking them the details which are already saved on their system, on the one on your application. So, and about the referees, as discussed before, the referees need to provide these details: their name, gender, date of birth, last 3 years addresses, starting with the current address, phone number, email address, profession, and if they have a British passport, their British passport number, and how do they know you? For example, maybe a friend, work colleague, friend's friend, relative. Avoid having relatives as referees. Usually, that's not suggested. Uh, Even in a professional manner, if you know someone, that person you can use, your accountant, lawyer, any business acquaintance, that should be fine. The same goes with the second referee. Uh, Employment history. This is a common question people ask us. So they want to check that there is no negative on your account. That is the main idea behind this. That not filed for bankruptcy, or any defaults, not being disqualified from being a director, something like that, taxes not paid. So in the last 10 years, all the employments that you've done, either self-employment, salaried employment, you need to mention that. Any gaps, you don't need to report that. They only want where periods where you worked. So also, common question that we are asked is, if you have moved employers and the past employer has already either changed names, dissolved, or address has changed, try to write whichever address you have. Either you can search on Google, look at your P60 or P45. Any address is fine. There is nothing specific that that this will go against you. So you are just trying to give whatever information you have at hand. List of absences from the UK in the last 5 years, if your qualifying period is 5 years, or 3 years if you are married to a British national and your qualifying period is 3 years. In the following format: so countries visited, reason, holiday, business, visiting relatives, or any other reason, date of departure, return, number of days. Number of days is no more relevant now, because the form, it's an online form now. You just give the departure and the return date, and the form will automatically calculate the number of absences. It won't show you on the screen, but it will go to the caseworker. So next, this is quite important. Several applications do get refused for this reason. Please ensure that you were in the UK 5 years ago or 3 years ago, if your qualifying period is 3 years from the date of filing the application. So if we are filing the application on 24th May 2017, then you should have been present in the UK on 24th May 2012. So it's not 24th May, it's 25th May. So from 25th May to 24th May, that's how the whole 5-year block is. Only for EEA nationals. So this is only required for EEA nationals or people, non-European nationals, who have lost their passports in the last 5 years. So proof of residence in the UK. For EEA nationals, it will be from date of permanent residence, if they've got permanent residence, or settled status up to the date of application. Items of correspondence from 6 different sources. If you have monthly items, then maybe give 4 documents per year, say January, April, July, December, something like that, spread across the whole year. Any documents which are less frequent than monthly, like quarterly, half yearly, yearly, etc. Try to give all the documents covering that period of time since you got your permanent residence or settled status. These are the examples. Prefer to give documents from government sources such as council tax, council, NHS, HMRC, TV license, DVLA, DWP, etc. That would be the first preference. The second preference would be, if you don't have much of those documents, bank statements, letters from employers, payslips, P60s, P45s would come under HMRC documentation. Any utility bills, telephone, internet, broadband, etc. Tenancy agreement. And the last on the list would be, if you are still short on documents, you can also submit invoices of online purchases which have a delivery address, which is your address and your name on it. So eBay invoices, Amazon, M&S, any stores. So that would be the last on the list. So that is all about the list of documents. You can download this list at our link. This is the link. I will paste it under the video. And that's all from me for now. Thank you very much.